I'm currently building 3D models for 3D printing, and I wanted a printer to test out the models that I'm creating. Although I've been creating 3D models for animation over the last 17 years, I have to confess that I've never even seen a 3D printer, let alone used one. When it comes to 3D printing, I am a complete noob. I purchased a printer from my local ALDI supermarket here in Australia for a princely sum of 299 Australian dollars. That's around 230 US dollars. And I also picked up a roll of black filament and a roll of natural coloured filament, natural being the closest colour to white. They were 1 kilogram rolls of high quality 1.75mm PLA filament, and each roll cost me $34.99. Opening the box, I can see the printer is well packed and protected and looks to be of reasonable quality. To be honest, the printer is smaller than I expected and has a print build volume area of 120mm wide, 135mm depth, and a build height of just 100mm. That's around 4 inches. Included in the box is one filament spool holder attachment, one power cable, one USB cable, one 4GB micro SD card, which contains sample G-code models and the Cocoon Cura slicing software, one scraper, one PTFE tube, whatever that is, one hex key set, 2 spare cable ties, 4 10-metre sample rolls of PLA filament, 2 spare print bed mats, plus the one already on the printer, one instruction manual, one getting started guide, one warranty card, and one bed levelling card, which is really just a business card sized piece of paper. Assembling the Cocoon Create Mini was a lot quicker and easier than expected. I just had to cut the 2 cable ties holding everything in place, attach the spool holder, plug the power cable in and turn it on. The instructions were well laid out and clear. Loading the filament was pretty straightforward. Access the Add Filament selection in the System menu, follow the instructions to feed the filament into the extruder, carefully remove any excess filament using the supplied scraper, and note, it does take a few minutes for the filament to reach the extruder head. Up next is levelling the print bed. This is where I had the most difficulty. Although the instructions are straightforward, the process is not. The adjustment screw closest to the menu is difficult to get access to and makes adjustment more complicated than it needs to be. Because of this, it's easy to move the bed when trying to adjust a screw. I also noticed that the bed doesn't travel all the way to the 2 rear corners for adjustment. It actually stops in the middle of the print bed, which makes it difficult to get an accurate adjustment. I found I had to do the bed levelling procedure several times just to get it in the ballpark. And I'm still not sure I've got it 100%. Time will tell. Once you have the bed levelled, it's time to install the Cocoon Cura slicing software. You can find the software along with some free sample G-code models on the micro SD card. Installing was straightforward and took no time at all. Oh, I need to mention, during the installation, the software will attempt to install the USB driver for the printer. I would advise having the 3D printer connected to the computer via the supplied USB cable and have the printer turned on before attempting to install the Cocoon Cura software. If you follow this procedure, everything should go smoothly. The first time you run Cocoon's version of Cura, you'll be presented with a configuration wizard. I didn't see my Cocoon model number listed, so I simply selected the Mini option. I was a bit hesitant at first, because nowhere on the unit itself, or in the supplied literature, does it mention that this printer is the Mini version. It's simply called the Cocoon Create. After selecting the Mini option, I did check the profile to ensure the build volume sizes matched the specs of the machine, and they did. Never having used Cura before, I found the interface easy to navigate and intuitive. Mousing over icons provides you with a text description and it's easy to find your way around. Loading the file showed it was too big for the print area of the Cocoon Mini, but it was easy to work out how to scale it down. I like that the object changes to yellow when it's scaled to fit, and positioned correctly on the print bed. Once you're happy with your model, Cura calculates the machine path and saves it to the micro SD card. You're notified of the time it's going to take to print and how much filament will be required to finish the model. Inserting the micro SD card back into the Cocoon Mini revealed a glitch. After inserting the card, the menu screen just went blank. I wasn't sure if this was normal and the card just took a little time to read, or if it was an error. Turned out to be a bit of a bug. I removed the card and replaced it several times, each with the same result, a blank screen. To get around this, I turned the 3D printer off, inserted the micro SD card, then turned the printer back on again. It worked. I've also had an issue where the Cocoon Mini detects the micro SD card no problems, but when I go to load the file, the menu is blank. I've found I can resolve all these issues by pressing the small black button just below the micro SD card slot after installing the card. Okay, on to printing. For my first print, I'm going to attempt the snowman model I created. As you can see here, by default, the Cocoon Mini adds a raft base to the model when slicing, with the included Cocoon version of Cura. The raft is supposed to help with print bed adhesion, but no go. This is a fail. I've followed the instructions for bed levelling exactly as instructed, but I keep getting poor bed adhesion. I'm re-levelling the bed before each print, but this happens time and time again. Eventually, I get the print to adhere well enough to finish a print. Once I'd done this, I was on my way and started modelling and printing more items. I created this ring blank to test the quality of the finished print. The ring prints surprisingly well, and I'm thoroughly impressed with the finish on all of the models I'm making. I'm finding the print is smooth in feel and to the naked eye, and the build lines only become visible when zooming in for a closer inspection. But as you can see, the print still releases from the bed way too easily. I need to increase my bed adhesion. I do eventually get this solved, however. It requires throwing the manufacturer's bed levelling instructions out the window and coming up with my own solution. If you want to see a proper explanation of how I solved the problem, subscribe and hit the notifications bell and I'll make that my next video. I eventually get a mobile phone holder I modelled and my snowman to print, and I'm very happy with the results. Even his tiny little fingers have printed. There is a hole in his hat, but I know why that happened, and I'll be adjusting the model to fix the problem. This is the very reason I bought a 3D printer. I need to be sure my models print well before releasing them to the public, which I plan to do once I'm ready. I'll be releasing all the models I create through my Patreon page. I'll make a video on what's coming up soon. Be sure to subscribe. So in summing up, I'm very happy with my purchase and the quality of the ALDI Cocoon Create Mini, and would definitely recommend it. The prints are way better than expected and hold great detail. I'd like to print larger models, so I need to be creative with the way I create them. In the case of the snowman model, I plan to split it into two and print it in 2 halves, which will give me a model around 200mm or 8 inches tall. That's big enough for me. I'll show you the result once it's printed in a later video. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this video useful.